Hi everyone, and welcome. So thanks to the Cinemark in my hometown, I had the opportunity and the chance and the blessing to finally see Dazed and Confused in the theater. I had seen it before, I believe on VHS, a few years after the movie did get released in 1993 when I was 16 years old. I just turned 16 when this film came out, about a month before the film came out, but I didn't see it in the theater until today as a 38-year-old. Oh my gosh. That's just crazy. But I have seen the movie before, a few times on VHS. I guess I never really owned the DVD, but I have the Blu-ray. I did buy the Blu-ray, I'm guessing a few months ago, maybe even a year ago. I don't remember when I bought this Blu-ray. But I really remember enjoying this film extremely a lot when I did see it back in the probably the mid-90s, maybe late 90s. So I was excited to finally revisit this movie again. And now I'm happy to share those thoughts, those memories, those feelings about one of the greatest stoner comedies ever made. Of course, this is the film directed by Richard Linklater, who recently just gave us Everybody Wants Some, a movie I just saw 2 days ago. And I wasn't planning really to see Dazed and Confused today, but you know, I just thought, I love the vibe that Richard has created in most of his movies. Yes, he loves to make films in the mainstream and in the indie vibe. He loves to just tap into two of those properties. But I really love his indie filmmaking. Slackers is a really not Slackers, but Slacker, his first film, is a really interesting film. I know it felt like he revisited that in Waking Life. I would like for him to revisit that kind of format again. It was just so different. I don't know if anybody's ever made a movie like that before or after. They might have, but I just don't know. I love Richard Linklater because he is just a true filmmaker. And I love Boyhood from last year. And watching Dazed and Confused on the screen again, I felt his sensibility, the way he looks at life sometimes. And how true and honest and real it all feels. Even though you're watching a movie with actors, you care about these characters. And I love that Dazed and Confused doesn't really rely on a plot. There's a very thin plot. I mean, they're experiencing the last day, 1976 in Texas, the last day of high school for a lot of these kids. Sometimes it's the last day of middle school or whatever they call that as they go on to high school. And at the time that this movie came out, I was a junior in high school, and I think at the time, I've always loved film, ever since I can remember, but I think at the time this movie came out, I think it just went right over my head, because, you know, I was an outcast. I didn't have a lot of friends, or the friends that I did have weren't really true friends. I had to make some new ones, and I did, and some of those are still my friends today. Shout out to the person I saw the movie with tonight. He's one of my friends from high school. I've known as long as this movie's been out. But you know, I think in the 90s, I was more excited about these action movies and these fantastical films, and not really interest in just people being people, a human story, or even about drugs, because that wasn't my scene, man. I'm sorry, I just never really got into that scene. I wasn't accepted by the druggies. I wasn't accepted by the popular people. I was just kind of in my own little world and had a few of my own little friends. But so I never really had any desire to ever see this film when the film actually came out. As I look back, and now that I've seen it again, I almost wish, damn, I wish I would have saw this in the theater. It might have, well, I don't know, maybe inspired me in the wrong way, but then also maybe enlightened me of being like, you know, don't take everything so seriously about life. At the time, if you looked at me a certain way, I wouldn't fight you. But in my mind, I'd think horrible thoughts. Yeah. So watching it as a 38-year-old adult at the time that I'm watching it now, I just look back at it and I'm reminded of other movies that are like it, like American Graffiti. Gosh, there's some other movies that I'm spacing right now, but you know, American Graffiti comes to mind. Of course, it's easy to talk about Everybody Wants Some because it's a spirited sequel to Dazed and Confused. But I'm just reminded of you know, these great films about teenage life, whether it's in the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, or today. I always really love films like this, you know, that don't really rely on a plot or even a message, but just we kind of just step into this slice of life. These people living their lives. They're teenagers. They're relatable. All of us once were teenagers, whether we are now or once was. We can relate to these guys, even if we weren't born in the 70s or went to high school in the 70s. I think, you know, the experience of a teenager really, it doesn't change that much, except for like the technology and maybe the way people talk. But all the insecurities and, you know, the students that are, you know, being bullied or the ones bullying them, you know, the side, all these things are going to exist forever. Nothing's really going to change in that fact. So I think that's why a story like this, even though it's 23 years old, can be relatable 20 years from now. And I mean, it was made in the 90s and it's about the 70s, you know, and then American Graffiti was made in the 70s and it was about the 60s. And then, you know, Everybody Wants Some was made today and it's about the 80s. So I don't know. A side of me does get slightly depressed when a movie starts to wrap up. The movie's about an hour and 40 minutes, and when it starts to wrap up, and you've loved all these characters, and you just love being around them, and the amazing dialogue, and the you know, just likability, that everything that's going on. I almost choked up near the end. At the end, they show you the cast, this amazing cast that in 1993 and 92 when they shot the film. These people were no names. For the majority of the cast were no names. Just an unknown crop of talent that was placed into this movie. And of course, a majority of the cast we're talking about today. And I went on IMDb to see how the other people are doing today. And most of them are still working actors. And that just makes me happy. That makes me really happy for everyone that is involved in Dazed and Confused. And I'm imagining probably at the 20th anniversary, they hopefully celebrate it together. And I hope that the 30th and the 40th and 50th, they get back together and they celebrate this amazing film that, you know, maybe on the surface, it's not that amazing, you know, in the sense of like story or a plot or anything like that. But inside the soul of this movie, there's just so much growing. There's so much emotion and feelings and all this kind of sweetness about this movie. So I wanted, all these ideas were going in my head, and it was great to, you know, see Matthew McConaughey in his first real role, and he has the great line, all right, and all these great lines that he has in the movie that he still uses today in some way or another that shapes his personality. And then to see where Ben Affleck is such a jerk and he's so horrible, and see where his career's gone up and down. It's just so fascinating. And, you know, the rest of the cast have had their shares of ups and downs, and I'm just glad, I'm hoping that they're doing great. I'm hoping they're working today and successful, because they can look at where they are now and kind of have an idea of where they were when they first started, because they were in something very, very exciting, very, very important. A great slice of just Americana. And, you know, right in the theaters right now, you can go see Richard Linklater's latest film that he's trying to capture that magic again. A movie that feels like you want it to just go on forever. When I saw Everybody Wants Some, I wanted that film to go on forever. And with Dazed and Confused, it was really sad when it was over. I wanted that movie to go on forever. But thankfully, it's gonna the movie itself will go on forever and remind us that as we get older, we should always have the attitude of feeling young and vibrant. We should, no matter if we're 100, we should always have a great attitude about life. And that's, I think, what I get the most from this just darling of a film. I don't know, man. It's cool, dude. It is so freaking cool. I love it. I'm so glad I saw it. And this is where you should see movies like this, in the theater with your friends, because that's just, it's a good feeling, man. It's a really good feeling. All right, everyone, that is my feelings about Dazed and Confused at the moment. Of course, I could talk about this movie forever. In the comment box below, you share your feelings about this film. Share some of your favorite movies about teenage life. You know, American Pie series is fun. Well, or maybe even, you know, movies, stoner films, you know? I remember one of the first stoner movies I ever saw was called The Stone Age. That was a weird one. Yeah, I didn't understand that one either at the time, but I did enjoy it. And then, of course, Cheech and Chong. Can't go wrong with Cheech and Chong. We need another movie from Cheech and Chong. I'm going to edit on that. All right, everyone. Love you all, and peace be with you, my friends.
Thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment, and share this video. And also, please check out these amazing movie websites. And if you enjoyed this review, please click here to subscribe to my channel, and also please check out all my recent reviews right here on YouTube. Have a great day, live film, find peace, happiness, and harmony in anything and everything you do, and I'll talk to you at my next movie review.